purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today I got two very special guests, my business partners inside our VIP weight loss system. We have Kim Naninga, she's a registered dietitian. She's been a client and friend of mine a little over 3 years. And then we got our husband, Nick Naninga, who's a chiropractor. They're both out of Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa. And yes, we want to come on the show today and we want to talk a little bit about the VIP weight loss system, how it literally transforms people from the inside out. We want to talk about everything from peptides to, what specific things the VIP weight loss system actually addresses from a health standpoint. And then obviously we can get into a little bit of the business side of it later on in the episode. But Kim, this is probably a question for you first because you're kind of the creator of the nutrition side. Can you talk about like the three main things that the nutrition system addresses with the VIP weight loss system?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And yes, so when it comes to the weight loss system and how we work with our clients, we're addressing the three things that are the most important that I've seen for sustainable results. So number one is actually liver health. So really helping the client make sure that they're cleansing out the toxins in their body because fat cells hold toxins. So this is really about helping the client lose toxins, and from that, weight loss happens. So that's number one. Number two is we're honoring their gut health. So really helping them to build a healthy microbiome, starve off the bad bacteria, build up the good bacteria. When we do this, we see clients heal from IBS, have regular digestion, have better energy, hormonal support. So all of those things coming together to work on healing the body, which then weight loss is the side effect, which is why it's so sustainable. And then number three, we're really working with metabolic health. Okay, so here we're helping clients to really reignite their metabolism. How we do that with natural remedies, food and things like that. So those are the big three: the gut health, the liver health, and the metabolic health.
And so those three things are done, with food, which traditionally,
Yes.
if someone was to do those things, it might be done with, supplements or things like that. Tell me why, in this system specifically, you focus solely on, food as kind of the way to do that versus like supplementation.
Oh my gosh, yes. So supplements, although supplements here and there, not a bad idea. Too many supplements, relying on supplements for results, it's just not, in my opinion, a long-term strategy. It can bog down the liver, and your body can kind of work against you. Supplements are meant to supplement your diet, right? So that's where we get in. You're eating every day anyways, right? You're eating, hopefully, you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So why not optimize this? Why not use real food to heal the body? So we're really focusing on the properties of the macronutrients, of the antioxidants, of what fiber does. And so really getting in and using real food, because that's what people want. They want real food that their whole family can eat. They're not relying on a supplement regimen for years to come. It can be very expensive. And ultimately, it can bog down the liver. So real food, using that, like we said, to optimize your liver, to clean your liver. Food can clean your liver. Food can heal your gut, and food can help boost your metabolism. And so we really focus on real food that you can get at any grocery store. It's not specialty foods. It's not stuff you have to get at special places, but really focusing on the food because it's sustainable.
Got it. And then Nick, kind of knowing your background as a chiropractor, I mean, obviously, we do use GLP-1, in our program, in our system, if obviously the candidate or a potential client is a candidate for that. But like, talk to me a little bit about, the GLP-1 side of it, combining it with what Kim talked about, which was the liver detox, the gut health, and the metabolism, and really fixing those things. Like, you as a chiropractor, most chiropractors, are against, a form of medicine, but like, what makes this something you're like, hey, I do want to use this in our program, and I know it's safe to use with our clients?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing I want to help people understand first is that GLP-1 isn't a traditional form of medicine. I mean, let's get that clear from the get-go, right? Because this isn't the great thing about GLP-1s is that it doesn't have a toxic accumulation in the body. It's not a chemical form in that sense that traditional medicines are. So unfortunately, it's a peptide is classified, and regulated under FDA guidelines, right? And the reason for that is because it's such a wonderful breakthrough in technology and science that it works so well, and that it needs to be regulated by, it has to have a certain standard to it. And so because it works so well, and because like I said, it doesn't have that toxic accumulation in the body. The great thing is it's enzymatically broken down, similar to every other hormone that the body produces. So that's why we incorporated it, because it works and it bypasses the digestive system that most people, when on our programs, their digestive systems are completely broken. And giving them more supplements, giving them more pills to swallow in that sense, is only going to stress their livers more. It's only going to bog their digestive systems down more. So we needed to find a targeted solution that wasn't toxic, that was broken down naturally by the body, that we could implement on a very low dose in our program, so that we could kind of help them overcome, give the body something to overcome, the resistance, the obstacles that these people have, and then we can remove that later. And so we can stand firm on that with our programs, because we rely so heavily on the lifestyle. We rely so heavily on the nutrition changes that we don't have to rely so heavily on this long term. And so knowing the science behind GLP-1s, as opposed to just having an opinion on them based off the buzzwords, is really the biggest thing, is knowing how they work and how to use them properly and safely.
Got it. And, this is kind of a question for both of you, but I'll let Kim answer first, is, obviously, there's a ton of stuff out there that talks about side effects and this and that, but like, you're working with hundreds of clients. We have hundreds of clients in VIP. Like, what are maybe the common side effects that you might see? And then what would be the reason somebody might experience some of these other side effects that people talk about, all the time?
It's a great question. So common side effects are going to be digestion. So we might have a slow digestion, just anything gastrointestinal. And then headaches are something I see could be common. So those are kind of the top two. But what we've done and how VIP is different is in studying the peptides and studying these side effects, we really work on healing the body before the client even starts the peptide. So we're cleansing the liver, we're helping the body heal. And because of that, in our program, we're able to get away with or leverage a very low dose at a high absorbency rate. And so what I'm seeing with some of these other clients that are in potentially different programs is that they're using very high doses. And because of that, they are having more side effects. Now, as a dietitian, I have also worked with our medical director to put together a nutrition plan that works alongside the peptide. And so we are actually seeing the opposite. We're reversing digestion issues. We're putting these things, and the plan works with it. We are helping the digestion stay regular. We are making sure that our clients are hydrated and nourished at a cellular level. And so the big difference, I think, is that when we use the GLP-1 as a monotherapy, and I do think that is concerning. However, with the GLP-1 in low doses with a nutrition program, supervised and checking in with them weekly, how are they doing? Are you having any concerns? We make sure that we correct that with healing remedies through their diet.
Right. So, essentially what you're saying is that, peptides, the majority of, side effects that you might see from a peptide are coming from too high of a dose, maybe eating, some of the wrong type of foods, or kind of a combination of both, right?
Absolutely.
And if you guys are maybe listening to this, you're wondering, hey, what's too high of a dose? Typically, there's a FDA recommendations.
Yes.
And so our goal in our program is to stay well under those FDA recommendations. But what we see a lot of times are people taking 4 to 5 times, sometimes 10 times the actual amount of the FDA recommendations. And then, you're getting into some of these bigger issues that people have. So I just want to make that clear that, I know for us, when we might hear somebody has a side effect, like maybe they feel nauseous, it's usually from either taking too much,
Yep.
or it's from maybe eating like a really fatty meal or even drinking. And those are just kind of common sides to where we need to be like, okay, tell me, what's going on so that we can address it. But I would say usually it's from the nutrition or alcohol that gives the side effect, not necessarily the peptide.
Correct. Yes, you're right.
Nick, so, do you have anything you want to add to any of that?
Yeah, of course. So, as a chiropractor, look, all we want to do is help our patients get better. All we want to do is help steer them from going towards, long-term use of medicine, of relying on a crutch. Blood pressure medication's a common one, statins. We're really just trying to make a difference. And the missing link so often in all of our practices is nutrition and healing. And inflammation really is the underlying problem that our clients are struggling with, the ones that aren't getting the results from the adjustment. The adjustment is an amazing thing that we have in our profession, and it can only go so far as the cells are healthy in the body. And so why this program is so transformational is it can go in, scrub those cells, detox the cells, open up the liver pathways. We can teach them the sustainable nutrition programs. Even if we use a low-dose peptide for a short amount of time, we can transform them. We can get the weight off, the inflammatory weight. We can lower inflammation levels. And now, as a chiropractor, there's not virtually much that I can't help in my practice when I'm equipped with the chiropractic adjustment, a solid nutrition program, and a low-dose peptide that helps target inflammation.
Right.
It's just, if there's chiropractors out there that truly want to get results, that truly want to keep people from going to their doctor or going to their med spa to get services like this is what you have to do. This is what you have to offer, because they're going to need help at some point with their diet. They're going to need nutrition help. They're going to need to get the weight off at some point, or they're going to suffer chronic pain. They're going to suffer chronic disease problems. And they're eventually, regardless of how much we preach to them and how many times we adjust them, they're going to wind up in the doctor's office, the surgical table. That's where they're headed. And
Right.
So if we're passionate, if we're truly we're passionate as we are about getting results, and we don't have a system or a program for our clients, we really aren't telling the whole truth.
Why do you think so many chiropractors are, against this? Because I think, we see a lot of chiropractors, they'll, shout out ivermectin, but like when it comes to, a weight loss peptide or something like that, they're like, no, this is like evil.
Yeah.
But like, why do you think they're against, weight loss or like this style?
A couple of reasons, I think, and you're right, because our profession rallied behind ivermectin, which is a veterinarian pharmaceutical drug. That's a dewormer, I think, right? And that's okay. But a low dose peptide that's even more natural of a compound, a protein that mimics a hormone that already actually exists in our body, we're against, right? The reason that is, I think, is because it's simple. One is something you swallow, and one is something you inject. And I think that the needle phobia that our profession has is something we seriously need to overcome now that peptide science has emerged. Now that more targeted therapies have emerged and we can access them, I think it's time we all rethink how targeted we can get by bypassing the digestive system, like I said, that's usually broken, and injecting a compound that works synergistically with the body. I think that's reason number one. Number two, when you look at it, I think that, when it comes down to the GLP-1, they just don't understand how it works. They just simply put, they just haven't looked at it close enough to truly understand how these things work and how they work with the body. It's just lack of education.
Yeah. So, okay. So then we have this other side, we've seen in the last probably 6-8 months of kind of the MLM, peptides and this and that. And we, there's a lot of people touting the amazing results they're getting, but like, what's the difference, I guess, for someone out there who's like, there's the MLM peptides and then there's actually like the ones that you get from a compound pharmacy. Like, what is the difference between the two? And is there a big difference between effectiveness of those also?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The biggest difference is one is regulated and one has scientific studies. The other does not, and the one that does not is the one like the supplement industry is not regulated as tightly, if at all, as the peptide prescription industry, and so that's a huge understanding is even though it's a supplement and even though it's simply swallowed versus injected doesn't make it any safer or better, right? Then it just comes down to results. I mean, which one works? Which one works better? Everybody is going to know that when you can bypass the digestive system and go straight subcutaneous with a protein that mimics GLP-1, and the science is clear. When you try to produce GLP-1 naturally, the body breaks it down within minutes. Okay, I don't care what these companies promise. If it's not done through GLP-1 therapy, through a prescription peptide, it doesn't work the same. Okay, so any changes that they may be seeing in that with that supplement are likely coming from nutrition or lifestyle changes that accompany those kind of programs.
And I think the big
either way, it's going to help people. But I think when it comes down to it, there's one that clearly works better, and we all know it.
I think the big thing too we want to stress in this is like whether you want to take the MLM weight loss peptides or you want to do the compounding version or whatever, the injectable version. The number one thing that is going to help you is the program around that peptide or, it's not the peptide. And that's the thing we want to stress is like, if we wanted that model, we would not be selling to, chiropractors or health professionals to do this, right? Like the model we're really going after is somebody who wants a holistic program built around the peptide that they can see, that person is becoming healthier. Because at the end of the day, if we're just taking the peptide, like people are probably not going to see the inflammation decrease. They're not going to see a lot of, these other things. They might temporarily, but they're not going to see the long-term health benefit. So here's another common thing that people will say. You can maybe answer this and then I'll answer it after because, this, like most people say, well, you lose muscle mass, when you take weight loss peptides. I know what I'm going to say, but I'll let you kind of take that one first because that's a very common thing that people will say, especially in the health space, trainers, health professionals, chiropractors, oh, you'll lose so much weight or you'll lose so much muscle. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, for starters, it's clear the people that say that typically have another offer. They're either selling their own program, or they've got their own supplement line, or their own program. So they're going to try to throw something against this, kind of program that is getting probably better results than theirs, honestly, right? So let's start there. Okay. Number two, that's not true. I've lived this program myself. I've done this program. I've done the body analysis. I know how our program works, and I can only speak for our program. I did not lose any muscle mass at all when I went on my inflammation and weight reduction journey last year, and I've documented that. And I'm happy to share that with those that question the muscle mass thing. It's not true. Now, again, it just comes down to programming. It has nothing to do with the peptide. The actual mechanism of action and the science of the peptide, there's no distinction or connection at all between how a peptide works and how you would lose muscle mass. Okay, it's clearly a severe appetite restriction, or it's a severe calorie deficit, it's bad programming, it's lack of accountability, it's no coaching. That's where these studies come from. Okay, that's the opposite spectrum of our program. Okay, we have high accountability, we have high coaching, we have high standards. The average client in our program is actually going to preserve virtually all muscle while we are able to target the inflammation. So that's been done and dusted. And you've seen that play out on social media. Is the people that throw that stone, it comes right back at them. And everybody out there knows now that it has nothing to do with the peptide itself. It has everything to do with how you're using it.
Well, I mean, and technically it can't, okay, so let me break this down. Okay. So any diet that somebody would go on that's a big enough calorie restriction, and they're not doing resistance training, and they're not eating enough protein, any diet, whether they're on a peptide or not, if they're at such a deficit, they're not eating enough protein, they're not doing resistance training, they're going to lose lean muscle mass. Okay. So
no matter how you do it, any rapid weight loss.
Yeah. Let's just throw that out. Now, I see a lot of chiropractic programs out there, I will not mention their names, that are very heavily relied on supplements. Mm-hmm. They're very relied on extreme calorie restriction. And they tell people not to do resistance training for 6, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever that is. And they're saying, hey, our client lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks, our client lost 40 some pounds in 8 weeks. And I've even gotten to a couple of conversations, said, well, that sounds like extreme calorie restriction. And being in the fitness industry for 22 years, like, if somebody's losing that kind of weight, they either have an extreme amount of weight to lose. Let's face it, if they do, they're probably going to lose a little bit of lean muscle tissue if they're losing that much weight. But our goal and what we're doing is we're saying, listen, you need to eat X amount of protein a day. You need to make sure you're doing resistance training a couple days a week.
Right.
That will ensure that, you're not going to lose lean muscle mass. And the other thing that I think people forget about is that what dictates what we lose muscle or not lose muscle is not the peptide. It's the calories and the protein intake and the resistance training. No different than if I want to gain muscle, I got to eat more protein, I got to eat more calories, and I need to continue to do resistance training. And so let's just remove the peptide. Now, the peptide could technically, if you're not used to it or you're taking too much of it, it could restrict your calories, which means that you may not feel like you're hungry to eat enough protein. You may not feel like you're hungry to eat enough food, and you don't do resistance training. Yeah, that's going to, probably make you lose some lean muscle. But again, that's where you might see people who may be taking it is they're losing an extreme amount of weight and an extreme amount of muscle very quickly, but it's not the peptide, it's the program that's built around it. And that's what we really want to stress here is this is, we're using a micro dose. We're not using a full dose. We're using it because we want to address insulin resistance. We want to address metabolic health. We want to address liver detoxification. So someone actually is decreasing inflammation. They have better gut health and they're healing from the inside out. We're using this for a period of time, but we're not relying on it. And that's the key thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a lot of people that come from those programs into our program. Our goal isn't rapid weight loss. We're not trying to get the quick win and let the patient go. We're going root cause level. We're trying to fix the problem through the lens of nutrition and lifestyle habits. Okay. The GLP-1, we can all debate it all day long if we want to make it about the peptide. That's not our thing. Okay. That's clearly not what we're doing here. Yes, we use it because it works. It helps in the beginning phases. It helps the clients. It gets results, and that's it. We're really more clearly about doing this the right way.
And the other thing I was kind of thinking about was if we built a program that relied heavily on supplements, then we're making it about the supplements, not about the lifestyle changes, the habits, right?
Yeah.
If we built a program, based off natural peptides, we're still making it about that thing, and we're not actually addressing the real issue, which is, the environment we live in, the habits that we have, and eating the right foods and those things. And if a plan doesn't address those things, I would say no matter how natural your supplements are, no matter how natural, you might think your peptides are, your program is not a good quality program because you're missing some very key things that people need to change. And your environment, your habits, and the lifestyle changes you need to make have probably more to do with anything. And then the coaching, the accountability, and the support and the community and who you place yourself around, those things have more to do with, your health and your weight loss than any drug, any peptide, anything. And that's really what we want to stress inside of this program.
Absolutely. And if you look at it, Jesse, we're the ones that actually remove the peptide. Other programs, they stay on it. And so I'm not sure if that's a lifetime subscription of supplements that client needs, but we're trying to give our clients true freedom.
Yeah.
Which I think is truly what we should all be doing as coaches, as health coaches, as doctors, is providing the framework for somebody to have freedom from a program. Like when our clients are successful and they've reached their goal weight and they're through our programs, we release them back out into society with a new skill set. They don't need us long term. They don't need an annual or a monthly subscription to our program. We're done working.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a habit-based approach, right? So our goal is to get people to start living a habit-based lifestyle and to transition off of the peptide so that they can continue to, the foundation, is the habits. And that's what we want people to continue to live with, and transition into. And I think that's what's really important. So let's kind of shift gears. Obviously we have kind of the practitioner model, which is they would install this into a chiropractor would install this into their business. They would need to get certified, and then, they would launch this program, which we've, had a lot of people be successful with this. But let's talk about, we have a new program we just kind of came out with, which is a partner program. Talk about why maybe a chiropractor would want to have this as a partner program, even if they don't want to be the one executing on it in their business, but talk about why this partner program would really be beneficial for a chiropractor.
Yeah, again, I mean, as chiropractors, we should be trying to help our clients have the best health possible. And typically we do that, we're doing that through our adjustment. And I was trained, as many chiropractors are, is the best business model for a chiropractor is to do the adjustment. And I don't disagree with that. You're trained to do a service and you should max out that service to the highest level. And so I know that there's chiropractors, and myself included, that are just trying to give as many adjustments as they literally can. And that takes a lot of focus. That takes a singular focus, a singular effort to be successful in chiropractic. It takes a lot of passion and a lot of focus there. But I think we're all understanding now what's available and the power of some of these programs. Now, there's patients coming through a chiropractic office, and I don't care how many adjustments they get, we're not getting them off blood pressure medication. We're not getting them off statins. We're not reducing their risk of cancer. We're not, regardless of your philosophy, and we are helping, and the adjustment is helping that patient live a healthier life. I'm not going to argue that. But they're still eventually going to wind up, most likely, needing a physician, needing a surgery. If we don't have a place for them to go, that's more on our side of the aisle. We have now the ability in the partner program where we can establish a referral relationship. You can easily recommend our program to your patients. Our expert team of dietitians, our coaches, we will sell and service and coach that program and coach that patient all the way through the program so that when they're done, they've dropped inflammation and preserved muscle. They've improved their metabolic health. They've learned sustainable lifestyle habits. Now, guess what? The adjustments that you're giving are going to be way more effective. You're sending nerve impulse to a cell that's actually healthy, to a cell that can actually act upon that nerve impulse. Now we're moving the needle, right? Now we're making a difference. And the big movement, everybody knows it. Robert Kennedy Jr. and Maha, and it's all awesome stuff. But look, just simply removing food dye from our food systems isn't going to get us out of the mess we're in.
Right.
People need accountability. They need coaching. They need to learn how to go to the grocery store and balance a meal and how to improve their metabolic health. So, having a partner program available to those that want to be a part of this, but maybe they're so busy, maybe they're too busy, maybe they're so focused on growing their chiropractic practice that we could come in, kind of walk side by side with them and help them improve the outcomes of the people in their practice and in their community. And they can get compensated, very, very fairly for doing so.
Yeah, I'll say a couple of things. Obviously, you kind of speak to the chiropractors, but here's what I'll say is, I see a lot of chiropractors say they shouldn't be doing weight loss, but they're not against their clients doing a great weight loss, program, which to me, do the thing that you feel the most confident in helping your client. I think that's number one. Because that's going to show through in your work. So this could be for that chiropractor who's like, dude, I don't want to do weight loss, but I do see that it's an important piece. I'm just not the expert in it. I'd love to be able to refer it to somebody and get paid for that referral, and not only get paid for it, get paid by that referral, however long they stay in the program. And so I think there's that piece. And then there's the other component where maybe just someone's, got a busy office, they got a lot going on, and they're like, hey, I see this could be a huge benefit to my clinic, because guess what? If somebody's getting healthier, somebody's losing weight, well, they're tracing it back to the home place that they started, which is that person's clinic. And let's face it, if you refer someone to me, they get amazing results. It makes you look good. It makes your community look good, and it actually makes everyone look good, right? And that's really the partnership that we want to develop. So one, you could make an extra $3,000 to $10,000 a month. Two, you are helping people heal from the inside out, and you have a program that is essentially teaching someone how to live a healthier lifestyle, a habit-based lifestyle. And that's what's so cool about this partner program.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Look, when it comes down to it, regardless if you want to do weight loss in your practice or not, 50 to 70% of your patients still need it. And they are going to be looking for a solution out there, whether that's through your clinic or somewhere else.
All right, man. So bring this home. If someone's a chiropractor, they're wondering about this program. You and Kim, I think, are coming up on 2 years this month of when you guys first launched. But why should someone either add this as a practitioner or even add this as a partner? One line, like the bumper sticker one, man. Come on.
Look, I think the chiropractic adjustment is one of the most beautiful things that people can benefit from. It's the missing link a lot of people need. but the foundational aspects still come down to nutrition and lifestyle. So if you're tired of seeing the same people struggling with the same problem over and over and again, and knowing that your adjustment isn't going to fix it for them, this is why you would implement a system like this. Is if you're just tired of not getting the results that you think you could, that somebody needs, and you're tired of seeing them go back to their doctor, go somewhere else, and you want to be a part of that solution, that's why you do this.
Awesome, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. So I want to thank you for being on the show today. If you guys want to find out more about the VIP weight loss system, you want to find out more about whether it's the partner program or practitioner model, simply just reach out to me, jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. You can go down in the show notes, or you can also message me on Instagram or Facebook. If you go to the show notes, they'll say that. If you have any questions for Dr. Nick or Kim, you can also message them. There'll be a link to those in the show notes. Hope you guys have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.
You've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewell.